Good evening, gang. Happy Tuesday night. All right, we have made it. So let's see if we get enough people who actually still have power here, have internet connection. So, kind of go through all that. All right. So, how y'all doing tonight? Let's make sure we got some visuals and audio. Let's see. What do I see? Joe Cook, Salt Cottage, Adam Hoffman, Twin Lights, Yarn Prepper, Lady Luger, Terry Hardaway, Roxy Duchess, and I'm having a fun time trying to read stuff tonight. One of these days, I'll go see the doctor. So, all right, everybody has survived the storm. It's now off the coast, and everybody's digging out. Still cold. Woke up this morning here. It was 7 degrees. Uh, got up to about 30 here, 35 during the day, somewhere above freezing enough that any remnants were melted off and gone. So, worst we had for me around here was lost a few branches off a couple of trees in the yard. That was it. Nothing hit the house. That was good. After we took all those trees down this summer, I was pretty happy we got all that done because with everything that happened, I would have been sweating bullets with a bunch of pine trees in the yard. So now that those are all gone, I don't have to worry about that stuff. But yeah, all in all, for us, it was pretty much a non event. I mean, the roads weren't any good Sunday night, Monday morning, but I haven't left the house since sometime last week at this point. So we were ready. We were just hunkered down and never even lost power here, which was kind of ironic because Tennessee was the state that had the most power outages of everybody, but a lot of it was around Nashville. So we missed it by, what is it, a couple hundred miles, I guess, if you will. So not bad. So, yeah, so now we are into the week and the protests and everything. And apparently we have some sort of negotiated treaty between the White House and the Minneapolis governor's mansion. I can kind of see how that conversation went between Trump and Tim Walz. It was kind of like either you stop these protests or we're arresting you. And Tim Walz was like, "Hello, Chief," and that was pretty much it. Uh, because it's funny, the lieutenant governor of Minnesota is apparently one of the kingpins, going by the nickname of Flan, and her name happens to be Flanagan. There's a stretch. Nice way of staying your OPSEC there, Lieutenant Governor. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But apparently, the cops are already starting to bust heads, if you will, in Minneapolis, which is good. The interesting part is social media on all this. And I don't know if you've caught some of this, but apparently, the medical profession is collectively losing their minds. And just to give you this, we had some OB nurse, I think it was down in Florida, who a few days ago said that she hoped Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, had level 4 tears giving birth. They've pulled her out of the hospital. She is on administrative leave. And again, I believe it's Florida, Attorney General is now trying to have her medical license revoked. Good. You had a anesthesiologist, again, I think this was in Florida too, guy this time, who said he wasn't going to anesthetize MAGA people when they came in for surgery. And as his comment was, I own the business. I can do whatever I want. And they're looking at pulling his license. There was one, this one was very scary. And this one was in Virginia. And this was a nurse who went on social media and was pleading with her medical cohorts to take syringes of, as she said, either saline, okay, or succinylcholine, which you know what that is. That's a paralytic. Uh, that's one of those. If you've ever watched the TV show Forensic Files, you know what it is. That's one of those drugs where literally they murderers use this. They will inject somebody with it, and it's practically untraceable within about 15 minutes. So by the time the body's found, they have a hard time figuring out what the cause of death was. And this nurse was pleading with her friends who were medical personnel to inject MAGA Republicans with this when they're in the hospital. She's been relieved of duty. She is under criminal investigation. Uh, she'll never practice again. That'll be interesting. But I'm like, this is getting crazy when the medical profession, the ones that we should all trust. I mean, if you ever gone in for surgery or whatever, chances are you don't even know if your doctor was male, female, white, black, Hindu, whatever, straight, gay. You don't, because you never saw him. You went in surgery and it was, oh, okay. I'm knocked out. I wake up. I'm in recovery. You never even meet the surgeon. Chances are. Okay. That's how crazy it is. Then you have the other ones, some self appointed Antifa general. I get a kick out of this guy who is apparently now on the run because he was begging other Antifa members to get weapons and literally execute ICE officers. Oh, but I can't own a gun, which means either you're a felon or you're mentally incompetent. But he went on social media and was making all these videos doing this, and the Department of Justice got wind of it. And apparently, there is a manhunt for him, and he is on the lam, and he's begging for an attorney to represent him and places to hide and all this sort of stuff. It's the wheels are coming off the loony bin. We need to make mental asylums great again and start cleaning up this mess. I saw a video. I don't know. Super Bowl's coming up. Chances are, a lot of people aren't going to watch it. I could really give a rat's ass about the NFL in the first place. I'm certainly not going to support anything that thinks Bad Bunny and Green Day are appropriate uh, entertainment. Hey, we hate the United States. Let's get these guys in there. Okay. But so we always know the commercials come out, and Budweiser released their Super Bowl commercial today, and I saw it, and it was actually really cool. If you haven't seen it, go find it on YouTube or whatever. But it was a really cool commercial. It was very patriotic, and of course, and I got a kick out of it seeing this. The comments under it were mostly positive, and of course, you had to have libtards in there complaining about it. Oh, this country isn't free. How could you even represent something like that? I'm just like, oh my God, you know what? I mean, I swear they wake up in the morning going, what am I gonna bitch about today? And I say all of this because these are the people that you pass in the grocery store aisle or are the cashier at the Walmart checkout or the guy next to you pumping in gas that has completely lost their mind and you have no idea what they're going to snap. This is what we talk all the time about head on a swivel because you have no idea who out there is one walnut short of a fruitcake. It's all I'm saying, guys, is be careful, watch every step you take, be careful where you go, know who you're associating with, because there are a lot of mentally ill people in this country. And who knows how many of them got that way because of that. You know, I still think there was something in there that messed with people's brains, but we'll see. So, all right. That's me running my mouth for tonight. Okay, so let's get into the start of the evening, the fun part, the one that I know most everybody wants to see first. And we got almost 2,000 people here, so okay. Tonight we are giving away a Opus Guardian 6000. If you remember me reviewing this generator month and a half ago, thereabouts, this thing's a monstrosity. What, 4,600 watts. Yesterday I showed you the expansion battery that is there for sale, that they've got a deal going on. I reposted the links in yesterday's video in case you're interested in purchasing them, purchasing either the generator or the battery or whatever, because the original links that Miley gave me didn't have the correct prices on them. So now they have the correct prices, which are something like 30% off. I think it's $16.99 for the generator. It's $1,100 for the battery, which is cheap. So just giving you that as a thought. So it's what, about 33 cents for the generator per watt hour, and about 25 cents per watt hour for the additional batteries. I know she said that a bunch of you guys already found the discount prices. Looking yourself, I was glad that you guys did that, because I was trying to track her down with that yesterday, but she's in Hong Kong and I'm here, and obviously there's a time difference. So the time I get to talk to her is this time of day or in the middle of the night. So when she's at work, but that's it. So we are giving away one of the generators, not the battery, tonight. Now, in order to enter this drawing, you had to enter a comment on yesterday's video. Okay, can't do it here in the chat room, so don't even bother trying now if you didn't. And you had to have in there the state in which you live in and how many inches of snow you got. And 0 inches is totally acceptable. I mean, you live up in Oregon, you didn't get any snow from this storm. 0 inches was a fine. It was a fine answer. You still had to put that in there. Okay. So those are the two criteria that have to be in a comment. So what'll happen, those of you guys that are old hat know this, I will draw a name here right in front of you on the random comment picker here in just a minute. Whoever's name I draw, provided it is a valid entry, will have 3 minutes to announce their presence. If they're here, great, they win it. If they're not, we draw again. Remember that, okay? A lot of times we have happened that somebody's not here. We may draw a second name. Just be forewarned. The reason I say that, and I've been saying this for 2 years now, when I say it, when all the mods say it, that no more comments, that means no more comments. If you comment, you are not going to comment again. You will be tossed, which means if I have to draw a second name, you aren't getting a chance to win it. Means even if I draw the first name and you're not the person, you don't have a chance to win it. Okay. The only comment I'm looking for is I'm here by the person whose name I draw. Until we've got that, I don't want to see anything. Okay. 2,000 of you in here. I'm one person, and I've got to go through these comments and find that person, trying to make it easy. Please have a little respect for me trying to find the winner. Please have a little respect for the winner trying to get their attendance verified. So, all right, there we go. I've said it a million times. Anybody know the over under on the chance of how many, if we get nobody commenting today? We'll say. All right, let's do this. At this point, guys, no more comments. All right. So let's do the old screen share here. Mods, please put it in the chat. No more comments. Make sure you guys have done that so we can see it, so we got all the timing. Because once the mods have put it up, I know everybody's heard it. Okay. So we are waiting. No more comments. No more comments. Da 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 da. All right. Bass Ackwards just put it up. Rep Rebels put it up. Roberts put it up. Motimers put it up twice. Storm Chasing Gals, Cat Ladies put it up. Okay. By now, you should have the idea. No more comments. We're good. Okay. So any comments at this point, guys, they get tossed. All right. Let's take a look at what we got here. And let me get over to the right page. This is the link to yesterday's video. We will go over to fetch. Anything goes. We do not include replies. As I said yesterday, it is primary comments only. We do not allow duplicates. Everybody gets one answer or one entry. So let's see how many people we got. With 2,000 of you in here, I'm guessing we probably got about 2,000 comments. We'll see. But as we tick on along, there's 1,700, 18, 19, 2,000. At 2,065. All right, that is good. All right, here we go. Let's see who's our potential winner. Game Gal Ash, howdy from West Texas. We got about 3 inches of snow. That is a valid entry. Gamer Gal Ash, it is 8:11. You have until 8:14 to announce your presence. We're looking for Gamer Gal Ash. Oh my God, did we actually get through this, mods, that nobody got tossed? I don't see anything blocked. That might be a miracle. Gamer Gal Ash, we are looking for you. All right. Oops, I'm sorry. It was 8:16, not 8:11. Gamer Gal Ash is here. Woo! All right. Congratulations. Gamer Gal Ash, please send me via email your name, given name, physical mailing address, not post office box, and your phone number. I need all 3. If you can get those to me here real quick. Miley got a hold of me just before the live stream and said, "Do you have the name yet?" I said, "No, we don't do the live stream for 5 minutes." But she's waiting for the name. So if you can fire that over to me real quick, email is below in the description, pinball preparedness at mail2world.com. We will get this sent out to you ASAP. And then if there's another storm coming, you'll have power. All right, good deal. Congratulations. All right, so let me get rid of all it is, and we will stop the sharing. I will actually remember this for a chain. And come on. I stopped the sharing. There we go. All right, now we're back to good. All right, so let me get over here. All right, so let's get into Q&A. And as per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Trust me, at this point, it makes it easier for me to read them, let alone know they're directed at me. I've got my fonts up to 150% so I can see. But please put them in all caps so I know that they're directed at me, not to each other. As you guys know, I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to chat amongst yourselves. Just please keep it in lowercase. The only rule on the channel, as it has been all the time, is treat everybody in here with respect, with dignity, be polite. Okay. I don't care about 4-letter words. I just don't want to see any insults hurled at anybody else in here or at me. That is grounds not only to be tossed out of the live stream, you are tossed off the channel. So you won't ever be commenting again. You want to be rude, go do it somewhere else. There's plenty of other idiots on YouTube that you can be an asshole Here's not one of them. So, all right, let's get to the top and see what we got. Up, Kia Chris says there was one smartass. Okay, we didn't do a zero yet. One of these days we will. Okay. P. Lejo, wow, a huge lag between watching us on TV and on the phone. Yeah, I can't speak for the outgoing, but I know what you're hearing out of my mouth, I said probably 20 seconds ago. Uh, when I'm trying to flip between screens and see what's going on, I'm sitting here kind of going, okay, let's go wait for the screen to go, wait for the random comment picker to come up. It's yeah, the lag in the latency of the internet is interesting. I mean, I know YouTube puts a lag in it. I get that. But then you get the difference between watching on a computer, watching on a phone. I had that happen a couple of years ago where for some people it was so slow that when I was doing the Christmas trivia questions, that people had already given me the correct answer before some people had even heard what the question was. So yeah, that gets a little interesting. That's why I made the Christmas questions a lot harder. So go from there. Miss Mischief, Pinball, go see the eye doctor. I need to get tested for glaucoma and age-related macular degeneration. It creeps up on you. Like, I know I do have to go see. You know, the other thing that is out there is the fact that I sit in front of a computer screen for probably 8 hours a day, uh, and that's not good on my eyes either. So, Jolly Roger, thank you for the super chats. There's new member here. Excellent channel. Welcome to the crazy town. So you'll meet a lot of good people in here. Make sure you introduce yourself, get to know people in here. There is a boatload of helpful people in here. There's probably not a question in here that people couldn't answer. I guarantee if you want to change a carburetor on a 72 Chevy Vega, somebody in here's done it. So welcome to the family. Laura Story, Pinball. I have never grown pinto beans. Have you? Are they easy? Yeah, pinto beans are like any other bean, navy beans or black beans or great northern beans or anything like that. Very easy to grow. If you're going to save them for dry beans, the deal is make sure you let them dry on the vine. If you pick them when they're green, they'll rot. If you let them dry to the point where the seed pods get to be like paper, then you will have good dried beans. So pretty simple. Just plant them and let them grow until the pods are brown, and then pick them. But make sure when they start going, make sure you're picking the pods because they're not all going to go brown at the same time. And y'all know with beans, especially, the more you pick, the more you're going to get. So once they start being pickable, go out every morning and pick whatever you got. I mean, at the beginning, you're going to get bowls full of them. Then it's going to slow down. It'll be a little easier, but you're going to get a longer harvest that way. And eventually they'll just stop producing. But don't let them all go at once because the critters will come get them too. Sword 5000. Sounds like Walmart is considering closing 250 stores of 297 in California due to the $22 minimum wage and higher taxes on big business. Could be bold, but supposed to be from the CEO. Somebody sent me this in an email, maybe about 2 hours before the live stream. I have not heard anything about it yet. Doesn't, sorry, the Walmart CEO is calling me up to give me heads up on stories. It would not surprise me one bit. Walmart employs a boatload of people. You got to remember that. With the exception of the federal government, they are the largest employer in the country. And when you start adding a ton of cost on their ton of labor costs onto the bottom line, they got two choices. It's like either we raise the prices, which then nobody shops at Walmart, or we close the stores. And again, you have to remember the other thing about California. Okay. Insurance is absolutely ridiculous. Real estate cost, you know, Walmart store is ridiculous. Property taxes are ridiculous. And finally, somebody does a cost benefit analysis on opening a store and says, it's just not worth it. We can't make any money. Then add the fact in that you have all this. Well, unless it's under, over $1,000, they can steal whatever they want. How many videos have you all seen of people having full carts of groceries and just pushing them out the door? And Walmart's policy, the store employees are not allowed to go into the parking lot. So once somebody gets across, out that second set of double doors and across the sidewalk, Walmart employee can't do anything. You know, it, Look at the insurance companies, look at the fast food companies, look at the IT companies. Everybody and their mother's leaving California because Gavin Newsom has screwed up that state so bad, it's getting to the point where it's not repairable. I mean, I'm of the opinion right now, let's just sell California to Mexico. Everybody there speaks Spanish anyway. You know, might as well just let Mexico have it again, get some money back. Who knows? We can give Minnesota to Canada, California to Mexico, give Washington and Oregon to Canada. We'll take Alberta while we're at it, and that's fine. Everybody can be good. NT 6719. Are you and Mrs. P still doing the exercise program? Every morning. Yep. That's it. It's like, okay, get up, get done, get sweaty, then move on along. So, but yeah, it's just basically it's like doing Pilates. And I mean, we're getting better at it. It's not going to be body by Jake here anytime soon, but we're getting there. So all's good. Still doing the diet, doing the exercise. I'm getting older. I mean, I get it. I've got to do different things to keep me on the planet. Oops, we shot the bottom. Hang on. Find where I am here. There we go. You don't see me, something like that. Have I heard about Signalgate? Yes, a little bit. And this is what I was saying about the lieutenant governor being one of the ringleaders of the whole thing. There were a few social media gurus. I mean, I don't know if they were TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I saw them on Twitter. That over the past couple of days basically blew up this whole signal chat that the protesters were using up in Minnesota. And one of them was able to infiltrate the whole signal chat in the first place, and it got to the point of administrator privileges in here. So they got the names of everybody in here and they're releasing them all and turning them over to the feds. And so they blew this thing out of the water today to the point where all these paid protesters and terrorists uh, are now tagged, and they're going out there. I guess their next thing to do is to publicly identify all these people, so their neighbors, so their employers, so everybody knows who they are. And I think it's awesome. you know these are the criminals who you work with. These are the criminals who live next door to you or go to church with you or whatever, and just completely make them social outcasts. Oh, you're an illegal sympathizing terrorist? Got it. Okay. You don't work here anymore. Have a nice day. Oh, you employ these kinds of people? We won't be shopping here anymore. Thank you. You know, they're going to get them debanked. You know, all the tactics that the liberals love to use, these guys are going to wind up using right against them. You know, you think all the truckers in Canada a couple of years ago had trouble when they couldn't get money? Let's see how this one works. Okay. They're going to call out all the, you know, oh, gee, you've been getting paid by one of these organizations and you didn't declare it? Gee, that would be tax fraud. Okay. It ought to be fun to watch this one fall apart. Vicky Savage, pinball, when you keep calling the ones who don't listen, eventually you'll get the message across. Vicky, I've been trying for 2 years. It's getting better, but we've yet to have a 0 day. It's, I mean, it's not like this is a surprise. I say it every time, but we'll get there eventually. Either that or I'll have nobody watch the live streams. All right. Okay. Yeah, I saw Kevin Little says one idiot got tossed, but not till the winner said she's here. I saw the immediate comment before, but I wasn't going to say anything because the immediate comment before the guy that got tossed was being a dick anyway. So he would have got tossed for being a dick, not for just doing what he did. Uh, Old radio dude, did I know an agent had his finger bit off at the Preddy riot? I think it was two of them. It was either two fingers or two agents, one of the two. Because I keep hearing the story mention two, and whether it was two different people or one guy and two fingers. Yes, I have heard that. Did you? Y'all saw the video of the moron protester who thought it was a good idea to pick up a flashbang and try to throw it back at the cops. And she picked it up, and of course, it exploded in her hand, right? Blew off a couple of her fingers. Do you see she's got a GoFundMe out there right now? She's asking for $50,000 for people to donate so she can get prosthetic fingers. You know, this is, I love these people that watch Hollywood movies and think that's real. You know, oh, gee, I can go up against seven cops and nothing will happen to me. No, you aren't the Terminator. You know, oh, gee, in the movies, they always pick up a grenade and throw it back at the people, and it always works. It's because it's a freaking movie. You know, the guy whose name is on the marquee is not going to die before the end of the movie. Okay. They aren't making a movie about you, lady. So yeah. But I get a kick out of it. It's like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Send me $50,000 so I can have prosthetic fingers. No. Uh Just Arizona says, thank you for all you do. You are most welcome. I try my best. I appreciate you guys all putting up with me. Sometimes my videos are a little out there, but you get to know what's on my mind. And sometimes I think I'm saying online what a lot of you guys want to say. So, but I think it's important that somebody out there says it because if somebody else hears it, maybe they're like, you know what? I agree with that. Maybe I should say it too. And enough, we can't be the silent majority forever. That's one of the things I look at about social media is, you know, we're already getting run over by the loony left because they're willing to do more than we are. And but if we stay quiet, that just empowers them to do even more. That's part of why I like doing this. Uh Appalachian American, what are the best green beans to plant that produce all season? There's no way I can answer that. What I prefer bush beans. Okay. I know mountaintop preps, they prefer pole beans, but there, you know, and then there's thousands of different kinds of beans, you know, let's just have green beans, you know, that you could buy. Do you want pole beans? Do you want bush beans? Do you want, oh, I don't know, string beans or no string beans, flat beans, lima beans? Basically, the best ones to plant are the ones that grow best in your area. And that's what you need to do is basically try, hey, we're going to put this one in. Does it grow well here? Does it not? If it doesn't grow well, don't plant those again. Try something, try a different variety. I mean, that's the first year we were here, 2019, when I put the garden. I mean, I grew everything. I mean, I probably had 40 different types of vegetables out in my gardens, trying to figure out what grew here and what didn't. And I figured, okay, this didn't work, this didn't work, this worked great. We grow different kinds of tomatoes every year. I've got God knows how many different kinds of tomato seeds. I know what tomatoes grow really well. I know what tomatoes I'll never grow again, that they aren't worth it. You do the trial and error until you find out what works. I mean, here's a perfect example: potatoes. People like growing Yukon Gold potatoes or whatever. I found that the two potatoes that grow best here are Pontiac Reds and Kennebec Whites. Ironically, it's funny, Mrs. P was making pea soup here, and we used a can of potatoes can that we grew from 2022. Like, yeah, there you go, 4-year-old potatoes. That's what I'm saying. I got more food in this house I got to eat. I'm still eating stuff that we grew 4 years ago. You wonder why I'm not going to do much gardening this year. I'm trying to eat all this stuff. So, but yeah, I can't answer the question. You have to figure out what works in your area and what you like. I mean, if lima beans are the things that grow best and you can't stand lima beans, obviously you're not growing those. Okay. And then there are just way too many varieties of beans that are going to grow in different conditions, different soils. That you got to figure out on your own. Marie Schoen, I'm going to take a guess. When you and Mrs. P were in Alaska last year, actually 2 years ago, did Mrs. P look westward toward Russia and have a heartfelt yearning for her homeland? Well, uh, we didn't get that far. Uh, you know, if when we went up, it was you probably. I mean, I thought it was like, oh, hey, we're going to be up in Alaska. Maybe if we get a chance, we'd tell Rudy or something like that. He'd come down meet us. Or, I mean, we were like 8 hours or 10 hours from Anchorage, and I think that's where Rudy lives close to. It's like, all right, we didn't get anywhere near the western edge of the Aleutian Islands or anything like that. Nowhere near that. So it's kind of like you go about halfway up the state on the Pacific side, come back, and it was still what 7 days I think it was to do it. Yeah, I know sometimes she misses home, but I mean, there's a lot of times she's like, I want to go back to visit, not to move. Uh, but she knows with this war going on and everything like that, that's not going to happen. So, uh, one day, hopefully, we'll get a chance to, but who knows? Cindy Lou, question: what cordless chainsaw would I recommend? Any one that runs on a gas motor. Uh, I I know people who have these electric chainsaws, and they're not worth it. Okay, they just don't have the power. Yeah, I mean, if you want to trim some branches down or something, great. But I mean, if you want to cut a tree down, you're not going to have enough juice in a battery to cut a tree down and split that tree into logs. And if you got 10, forget it. Okay. Get one, get one that is gas, spend money on a good one, get a Poulan, get a steel, something like that. Again, buy quality. Sure, you could probably buy a cheap ass one at Walmart, and if it breaks, you get what you pay for. You know, tools are one thing. Spend money on quality. You know, that especially ones that you're going to need for survival. I'll give you that. Uh, DZ Camaro. I look younger with the hat on. Thanks. I got the hat on because I've got messed up hair from running around today. Uh, Carmen Walden, hello, Pinball. How much ice did you get from the storm? None to speak of. We had a little bit of sleet Sunday afternoon, just a little bit. We didn't get the freezing rain. It basically, we never really got, we got right about to 32. That was it. And then it warmed, you know how it was weird that day. It warmed up as the storm went through. And so we got rain overnight. And like I said, it was Saturday. We got rain overnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning, and rain most of the day Sunday. And then it got cold. And so what we had was wet streets. It wasn't that we got freezing rain, it's that we had wet streets and then it got cold. And so those turned into one layer of ice. And then we got snow on top of it. And so as the snow melted and froze and like that, that was where the issue was. But by mid-afternoon yesterday, it was gone. It was just it was bad enough where people weren't getting out of here to go to work yesterday morning, but by today the roads were fine. So by last night the roads were fine. Uh, uh, Sinatra lover, how tall am I? I am 6'8". Uh, Old radio dude. Comment on Freddie's dad telling him not to do something stupid at the riot. Yeah, I mean, I love some of the interviews that they did. They interviewed his parents, and I mean, I guess there was an interesting story that came out today. Let me preface this first. There's an interesting story that came out today. You know, oh, he was a nurse at the VA, yada 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 yada, yada, right? And then the story came out today. He quit a couple of months ago. So no, he was not a current nurse, as long as this story's true. Okay. I'm gonna qualify that real quick because I've just seen one news story, not a Twitter story, just a news story. But that he quit a couple of months ago. He was in an altercation with an ICE agent a week prior to this event. That basically he's just become a radical protester. That was it. He quit working and just decided, okay, I'm going off the deep end. His ex wife, when she was interviewed the day after this whole thing, said that she never knew him to be violent, but he was radical. His parents knew he was a radical and knew he was going to these protests, and his dad said, just don't do anything stupid. And then, of course, the idea was, well, I'm not even going to talk about the gun. Me against 7 cops. Yeah, I like my odds. Said nobody ever, unless you are completely brain dead. Uh, yeah. Somebody was making a comment, somebody that he used to work with. Oh, he was my friend. He was such a nice, gentle guy, and he went out and got murdered. No, he wasn't gentle. He attacked a bunch of cops. And no, he didn't go out and get murdered. He went out and got himself suicided. That was it. If he would have stayed back and let them do what they wanted, let the cops arrest the guy they were arresting, deal with the woman they were dealing with, and if he would have stood there with his damn camera on, just took video of it, he'd still be alive today. But no, he had it stick his nose in where it doesn't belong. I'm sorry, dude. Whether or not you think you were helping this woman, you weren't. And now you're running around with little horns on your head for the rest of eternity because of your dumb decision. Uh, Gray fog. If the administration does not prosecute Donnie Somali, Donnie Somali and his cohorts, is that not an open invitation for the crazy Democrats to attack churches nationwide? Okay. I have no idea who you are referencing when you say Donnie Somali, unless that's just the Somalis in general. Uh, Yeah, I'm not sure which, but you mean Don Lemon, maybe? Okay, I mean that. Okay, maybe that's who you're talking about. Trying to, yeah. Uh, is what I'm trying to figure out what you're saying with the churches. Yes, and I talked about this before. This is the issue. Unless we put an end to all this crap that is going on in Minnesota, it's going to spread. If and I've said this before, you know, Minnesota going, oh, we just need ICE to back off, everything like that, and leave us alone. If they do that, if Trump pulls the federal agents out, you've just given liberals in every city to do carte blanche to say, we don't have to listen to the federal government. We're going to do whatever the hell we want. It's no different. I mean, and you saw this coming years ago. We're a sanctuary city. There's no such thing. You can't do that. But the fact that we let that go, they give them an inch, they'll take a mile. It's no different than we're not arresting people for drug charges. We're not arresting people for shoplifting. And what winds up happening? Well, you've got California with, you know, San Francisco with drug users openly doing it down the street, shitting right on the street. That's what you get there. Oh, we're not prosecuting shoplifters. Oh, okay. Well, gee, honey, we can go to the store and steal $999 and they won't do anything. I mean, if we don't stop these protesters and expeditiously start really deporting these illegals, this is just going to happen in Chicago or New York or Memphis or Des Moines or wherever, and they're just going to go. Minneapolis got away with it. Why can't we? I mean that's the issue. And somebody could say, well, Minneapolis is a blue state and Iowa's not. Yeah, right. Okay. Go look at your cities. You're hard pressed to find a red city in this country. Okay. They're not out protesting in International Falls, even though that area is blue too. Okay. But eh, yeah, we are a nation of laws. This is what people don't liberals don't seem to understand. We are a nation of laws. Those laws that you are violating, saying that you want to keep illegals here, I hate to tell you this. Those laws were written by Republicans and Democrats. Okay. Barack Obama was known as the deporter in chief. May I remind them what party he was from? How is it that it was okay for Obama to deport illegals, but it's not okay for Trump to? Somebody explain the logic of this. They can't. You catch you. I mean, every time you twist, you like I said this morning, it's like we got to ban all guns. Well, this liberal had a gun. Well, it was okay for him to have guns. We got to ban all guns, but it was okay for him. Are you listening to yourself? I mean, this is just the stupidity. Uh HD Honeybee, how can I enter to win the contest? I can't find the video again. Well, the contest is over, so the next one, what I will tell you what you need to do when I do a contest. I do the same way every time. I will announce it in a video. You have to follow whatever rules I give you in that video, which is usually make a comment under that, which is always make a comment under that video. And then we do the giveaway on the live stream whenever it's next. So I did this video yesterday, the live stream's today, and we move on. Okay. So that's how it works. But you can't just show up for live streams and enter because we don't take entries during the live stream. So Tom, Pinball, do you think the rise of gold and silver is on purpose to bring in a new digital currency? All right. No, I don't think that has really anything to do with it. If you remember watching my video, my prediction video at the beginning of the year, when I told you what I thought was going to happen with the Dixie, okay? the dollar index. If anybody follows that, the dollar today hit the lowest level. The dollar's worth the least it's been in 4 years. So we are back to where the dollar was valued during COVID right now. Okay. Where the big problem that you have right now is the Japanese yen. And the yen is getting very, 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 very weak. And so the worry is that the rest of the countries around the world are going to have to devalue their currencies to support the yen so Japan doesn't basically have a currency collapse. Because again, you're talking, nobody gives a shit if the Venezuelan bolivar collapses or the whatever the Lebanese money is made. Nobody cares about that. They're not a major player in the world financial markets. Japan is. They can't afford to have the Japanese yen collapse. And before anybody says, oh, that would never happen, it already has. We did this back in the 80s, okay, where the world basically rebalanced the currencies so that, again, to save the yen. That is a lot of it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The big players, the banks, the governments, the industry, they've all got their reasons for getting into gold and silver right now. I mean, industry obviously because they need it as a industrial metal. The banks because they got to make money, and the governments because they're worried about currencies collapsing. If we have issues with the yen going further, you're going to see silver and gold continue to run up. And eventually, what's going to happen is it's not going to do this, it's going to do this. Because the more people that are buying silver, the more that we are using silver, the more industrial use for silver, it's getting parked. Okay. People that are selling silver are very short sighted. If anybody noticed today, Citibank, okay, I mean, obviously one of the world's largest banks, put out their new price target on silver of $150 an ounce. But that wasn't a 1 year price. That was a 0 to 3 month price target. Silver's sitting around 110 bucks. Citigroup sees $40 upside or about 30% in the 3 months. Now, mind you, this silver's gone up about 30% in 3 weeks. Again, silver was around 110 at the close today. Last Tuesday night, when we were wrapping up the live stream, silver was about 90 bucks. So it's gone up 20 bucks in a week. Right. In case anybody didn't notice yesterday silver crossed 118 at one point. Backed off about 10 bucks, but closed at 12, it was about 106 yesterday. But yeah, we were up at 118. I'm looking at this going, yeah, I said we'd probably get 120 by the end of the year. Going, we might get 120 by the end of the month. I mean, I think I'm pretty okay on my bet that we'd break 100 in January. So yeah, I think I got that one covered. But this is how damn stink bugs. Anybody else having that problem? We still got stink bugs at this point. I mean, I know they're in the side of the house and coming out. I'm like, crap. Uh, but yeah, silver, I don't think it has anything to do with digital currency. I think it has everything to do with them trying to save current fiat currency, the COMEX, you know. So, but yeah, right now, I went through a whole lot of gobbledygook that most people wouldn't understand. Uh, the only thing I'll say right now, do not be selling yourself. I mean, if you need it for emergencies, yes, but no, we aren't anywhere near the top in silver. We're just getting started. This is not 1979 all over again. We're not going to go up to 50 and back down to 10. That ain't happening. Okay. Don't worry about that right now. We're at the beginning of this run, not the end. All right. North Alabama hiking. Pinball, you're one of my favorite prepping channels. It's funny because we don't do that much prepping talk anymore. Seems to be a lot of current events. Do you have yourself a favorite prepping channel? And if so, which one? I would see, and everyone's a little different. That's what I like about it. I mean, I still watch the same people that I've watched at this point for years. I watch Angry Prepper, I watch Magic Prepper, I watch Prepared Homestead, I watch Alaska Prepper, I watch Prepper Now. Those are the guys that I watch, and I've watched these guys for 4 or 5 years now, just because I I I I agree with what they're saying, and they're genuine for what they're saying. They're not just making up bullshit as they go. Anybody can come out and say, buy rice and beans. Okay. But the people I like to watch, the big channels. I mean, there's a lot of little ones I watch, smaller ones, but people that post a video once or twice a week, they're not on my normal rotation. Uh, I'm not going to check to see what they've done all the time. They're in my subscriptions and I'll see when they've got a new one, but I don't catch everything. And again, there's plenty of times that somebody will talk about a topic that I don't care about. Just like I said, if you don't care about the topic I'm talking about, don't watch. I get it. But I I guess I don't go out hunting for new channels because I'm spending enough time trying to find the content for this. But I'll go look and see at least the headlines to what the other guys are talking about. And if I go through, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'll give you a list of the people that are on my subscriber list here real quick. I gotta shrink this down. All right. So if I go down the ones I'm subscribed to, the Poplar Report, Angry Prepper, Patera, obviously. Okay. Angry Truth, Magic Prepper, Sutton's Days, Integrative Preparedness, Alaska Prepper, the Max, uh, Inside Russia, if you guys know Constantine, the Orlando Prepper, Prepared Homestead, Doomsday Queen, Rural 2 IC, Deep South Homestead, Danny and Wanda, the Veggie Boys, I still watch them, Riverside Homestead, Southern Prepper One, Patriot Nurse, Smoking Swamp Outdoors, Prep Rebel, Ed Kirkpatrick, Garden Like a Viking, Hollis and Nancy, Scott Head, Self Sufficient Me, and the Gardening Channel with James Prigioni. Those are the ones that I pay attention to. And I'll, at least when they have something new come out, go take a look and say, okay, is this something that I want to watch? You know, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And it should be like that for everybody. You I don't expect anybody to watch everything I put out. If it's not of interest to you, don't watch it. You live in a 20th story high rise. Watching me put stuff in the garden probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you. You know, I get it, that and that's the way it should be. You should. We use YouTube for education, for camaraderie, for fellowship, to learn something. You know, maybe it's to reinforce something that we're thinking. Maybe it's to learn more about something we're thinking. But you watch what's worthwhile to you, and the rest of them, I mean, there's plenty of people on YouTube I wouldn't piss on if they were on fire. Okay, uh, not a big deal. And I know there's hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, that think that way about me, and that's fine. I don't care. Okay, it doesn't. I don't lose a second's sleep over it. But yeah, it's those are the ones I watch. There's probably 100 more out there that are good too that I just don't know about them, and there's no possible way I could. But I've done videos before about small channels that I like to watch. Some of them still exist. Some of them have moved on. You know, not every channel makes it. Not every person, not every person says, "Hey, I want to do this for 5 years." Some people are like, "Well, I tried it and I don't like doing it, and that's it." Okay, that's fine. That's cool. you know, we're supposed to do this for enjoyment. You guys are here because you want to enjoy this. I do this because I enjoy the relationship I have with all of you guys. I like to help people. I am obviously opinionated. Mrs. P has always said, if you ever stop doing YouTube, then I got to listen to you all the time. But yeah, you do it for the entertainment reasons. You do it for the learning. You do it for the camaraderie, and that's kind of the reason I'm here. So. And that's it. And it's 9 o'clock. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in the morning. Take care. Bye.